What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Shinobi Squad podcast. I'm fan service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
You thought all the BS ended in 2020. Nah, that was too good to be true.
Nah.
That was too good.
That was so last year.
Just to think because a new year rolls by, the BS is going to drop. No. We already started the year with people storming the Capitol. We've been experiencing hate against the Asian community, but as of 2021, it just seems like more of it is just popping up more frequent. You've seen stories about the Thai grandpa, I believe in San Francisco, that someone just rushed him and sucker punched him and he died.
Yeah.
That's just one of the many sucker punch incidences. I don't know if it became like a trend or these stupid ass ratchet people thought it was a cool thing to do, but so many people were just filming themselves sucker punching older Asian people. Unfortunately, that Thai grandpa died, and that's sad that people are just out there thinking this is a trend or something fun to do on top of the hate that's already out there. Just within the last couple weeks, there was shootings at massage parlors. Like, seriously, now these people are going to places of Asian businesses and just shooting up the place. Customers, employees, nobody's safe. It was such a tragedy that this dude not only went to one, I believe he went to three and shot them all up, killing multiple people. His reasoning was he has a sex addiction or something.
That makes no sense.
You have a fetish or an addiction and you solve it by shooting the people you're having a fetish about? How does that even work?
Right.
To make it worse, the police chief or someone on the police force was like, yeah, the shooter was just having a bad day. How does that make any minority feel good?
Most people would just go get therapy, you know?
Asians and other people of color shouldn't have to worry if a white man with a gun
Right.
is having a bad day. So the next time someone else of similar background has a bad day, we all just have to prepare for the worst.
Right.
These police are just ridiculous. Why would you even say that on national TV? Would you take a moment to think about the dumb shit that's coming out of your mouth? You think they would, but that's how little that police chief cares.
And I love when it's a person of color when it comes to police brutality, and they never give a reasoning as to why they're doing that. There's never any title that they want to call that, but they want to label, oh, some person goes into a massage parlor and shoots up the place. Oh, that person's having a bad day. Get over it. That's weak. That's weak to me.
It's like the police department just shrugged it off.
And the police just do nothing?
Yeah.
That's not cool. That's weak to me.
The key word there is multiple massage parlors. This dude went up, shot up 3 of them before someone finally caught his ass. And just like in mass shooter fashion, as long as the shooter's white, he gets the best treatment. The police weren't beating his ass. He wasn't getting roughed up. They probably went to pick him up and gave him a sandwich.
Right. And water.
And water. Oh, yeah, that too. If y'all want more details about the story, it's all over the internet. Just Google the mass shooter in Georgia at the massage parlors. Like, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous how it's just being shrugged off. It's not being labeled any kind of a hate crime. It's just, he was having a bad day.
Right.
Police don't want to acknowledge that this person was targeting clearly Asian people. He went to Asian massage parlors and shot Asian people.
Right.
It's not like he went to the Hilton and shot up their massage area.
Right.
He went to Asian-owned businesses. That just doesn't sit well with me, obviously, because I'm Asian, but it makes me worry about other Asian businesses.
Oh, yeah.
I have family members and friends who work at businesses owned by Asians, run by Asians. It broke my heart to see my niece on Facebook talking about this is the first time she's feared for her life. She's always felt safe in this little suburban town she lives in. She's never felt any threat, but now she's afraid to leave home by herself.
I follow a lot of nail technicians on Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case. And a lot of those Asian-owned businesses are scared to even open up their nail salons.
Yeah.
Their massage parlors, whatever it is, they're afraid to go to work each day and make their money. It's bad enough the pandemic's going on and they can finally open up, they can finally do these things. But it's just so sad seeing these companies and these small business owners not even wanting to open up shop just because of this shit. And it's on top of the pandemic. and they're finally getting in the motion again, and they can't even do that. You
Yeah.
know?
These Asian businesses have been hit hard enough because of a certain Oompa Loompa calling Corona the China flu and
Mm-hmm.
other ignorant people calling it the Kung flu and just blaming everything on China.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, people are so ignorant that they think China and they think everything Asia,
Right.
everyone Asian is from China.
Mm-hmm.
Are you Chinese or Japanese? And King of the Hill kind of shit. We're all Chinese to these certain people,
Right.
and they're just taking it out on everyone. Like I was saying about my niece, it really had me thinking. She's never been into a big city. She's never felt that
Mm-hmm.
threat. And it just makes me wonder how many of her other peers, her coworkers, feel that way.
Right.
They work at an all Asian restaurant. It was bad enough that Asians were being targeted on the streets
Mm-hmm.
in heavily populated Asian areas like San Francisco. San Francisco has one of the biggest Chinatowns in this country, and people are still ballsy enough to
Oh, yeah.
target Asian people in Chinatown.
That's why I'm so glad the government over there is trying to take charge. It's a slow process, and it's going to be that way because they're not used to you taking charge and taking matters into their own hands. But I've been seeing a lot of their government officials talking about we need to fight back, we need to get ballsier. They're encouraging the people in the community to fight back, and I'm glad that they are, because if they're not going to protect themselves, who will?
Yeah, certain Asian communities have all started strapping up.
Yeah.
I've been seeing the stories and the pictures of business owners posted on top of their stores with guns and
Yeah.
just protecting their customers and protecting their employees. And it's crazy. And of course, media wants to be like, no, y'all can't be vigilantes. We don't want.
Oh, yes, we can. Oh, yes, we can.
Right? It's like Asian people can't defend their businesses, but people with Walmart tactical gear can march on any capital area they want, any mayor's office, and they can bring their guns just to bring guns out.
And that reminds me of a little certain someone called Kyle Rittenhouse, who, what did he do?
Took his guns from Illinois to Wisconsin to have a party.
Yeah, his idea was to protect the businesses that were getting looted and all of that jazz. Kyle Rittenhouse had nothing to do with those people. He had nothing to do with that city. He didn't even live there. On that same breath, why can't business owners and people who work these jobs protect themselves? If Kyle Rittenhouse from wherever 50 miles away can come over and pretend to be a vigilante and pretend to be certified with a gun, and go over there and meddle in things that he wasn't even a part of, why can't these business owners do that same thing?
Like the media wants to portray it as these people are going to be vigilantes, but it's coming down to it to where no one's there to protect them.
Oh, but you want to let these people storm the White House and do that kind of shit? Where's the protection there too? So why can't these people protect themselves?
Bad enough that the police don't care. At the rate a lot of the police have been going, they'll show up to help these people and end up shooting the people they're supposed to be helping.
Exactly.
As oops, I had a bad day. Sorry.
Exactly.
Scratching his forehead like, sorry, I shot the wrong person. Like, you couldn't tell the difference between the Asian guy and the non-Asian guy with the beard and the camouflage and the 16 guns and 300 rounds of ammo. Nope. Everyone just looked the same to me.
That's why a lot of these business owners are feeling the way that they do right now. That's why they're scared out of their minds, and they should be. Because who's going to help them? Definitely not the police.
Yeah.
Definitely not their governments. Definitely not anything. Like, nobody's safe right now.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
It's getting back to the times of where, like, when the Black Panthers were formed.
Oh, yeah.
These groups, like the Black Panthers, were formed to protect these Black communities. And I've been following a lot of Asian, like, community leaders, and they're trying to group up. They're going around telling these communities, y'all got to stand up for yourselves. Don't matter how you do it. If y'all got to form a militia, if y'all got to get a band of ninjas together, y'all got to do something.
You have to protect yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was following this dude, China Mac from New York. He went on a whole ass tour going from city to city a couple months ago, just speaking at different Asian communities. Y'all got to stand up for yourselves. No one's going to protect us. And he was serious about that shit. He's just like, I don't want to condone violence, but if it comes down to it, we got to fight back. These people are targeting these Asians because stereotypically they think Asians are timid, they're weak,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to fight back, they're not like the black community, they're not
Mm-hmm.
like the Hispanic community, they don't have enforcers,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote. And he's just like, no, we do, we just need to use them.
Right.
He's like, I ain't trying to bring back triads and yakuzas, but I'm just saying.
I saw a lot of people rallying up on Instagram, on Facebook, talking about we really need to band together and help this community out. I saw people all over, like these professional kung fu artists that are on movies, and these professional background fighters, and these professional like these MMA fighters. Everybody like was trying to like rally up and trying to create this community of support
Mhm.
and trying to like go out there, not necessarily being vigilantes, but just trying to offer their support and their help when this kind of shit goes down.
Yeah.
And I loved seeing that. I loved seeing the community come together. People that didn't even live there were trying to band up and was like, you know what? At the end of the day, we're just sick and tired of this shit.
There was a college, I forgot which one, but they had groups of students volunteering just to escort
Mhm.
old people
I
to
saw
and
that
from
too.
where they had to go. They would just show up and see an old person walking by themselves and like, hey, can I help you get to where you're going?
hmm
And
That's what we got to do.
yeah, and that's a great start.
It is.
What other Asian attacks have gone viral? Did you see the one about the grandma that got attacked and she fought back?
Oh, yeah.
The grandma's like, what, 75, 80?
Had a plank of wood. I don't even know where she got it from because honestly, I didn't really look into the details about that story, but I just loved the fact that she was able to fight back.
Yeah, she whooped that dude's ass. You looking at the pictures, like he's getting carried away in like a stretcher or something.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Grandma got like a bruise across like the top of her nose, and she did sustain some injuries, but she whooped that dude's ass. That's what we're talking about. People are gonna start fighting back, and it's gonna escalate. I'm sure that set an example to dumbasses like that guy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
again, it was a white guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why, dude? Like, what beef do you have
Right.
with this grandma?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna fight one grandma and it's gonna like cure COVID?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna let you go back to your shitty job? Like, what is it gonna do? That put a smile on my face. For
It
the
really
wrong,
did.
for the wrong reasons. You shouldn't be happy about that kind of shit. But I'm just like,
No, I am happy about that shit because that's the kind of shit that needs to happen for this shit to stop.
yeah, people just need to know they're not gonna get a sucker punch and run away.
Right.
And that was a great start coming from an old grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Looking further into the whole grandma story, someone had set up a GoFundMe for her to like pay for her medical bills, which was like $25,000 or something like that, if I read
wow.
right. She ended up raising, I think, like almost $900,000.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah, she could have easily just took all that money
Mm-hmm.
and walked away. She deserves it.
Mhm.
But instead, she's going to donate most of that money, most of that $900,000 minus her medical bills,
Mm-hmm.
back towards the Asian community
That's good.
to help with this Asian hate problem that's going on.
Right. Good.
It just restores faith
Right.
in parts of humanity, not all of humanity, but just certain parts where she was using her misfortune to help others that may potentially be victims themselves.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if she made it, but I saw like a t-shirt merch going around. Someone drew her as a cartoon character holding the plank of
Yeah.
wood. And it said something like, "You gonna learn today." Yeah, I love that shit. I would love to contribute to that. I would love it because I wear the shit out of that t-shirt.
Mhm.
I would definitely, because that shit needs to be like, that needs to be on a billboard. That needs to be on
I know.
t-shirts, license plates, everything. You about to learn today.
Mm.
Oh,
some lady on the New York subway got peed on.
Ugh.
This poor lady just sitting on the train, a random white guy with an American flag on his arm, I think, had his face all covered up, got on the train and started peeing on her. And it took her a
Wow.
minute to notice because the guy got close to her and she just kind of ignored him. But then she looked over and the guy was peeing on her bag and on her.
What?
And then she looked at him, the guy had his dick out. And she's like,
Ew.
what the hell? This dude didn't say anything. And they made eye contact. And then she got off the train and he got off at the next stop too.
What?
But she got pictures of him, but he was all covered up.
I wish I would have seen that shit. I would have punched the shit out of him.
It's like, what kind of shit is that? The New York train system's gross enough as it is.
Right.
You don't need some dude pissing on you.
It's shit like that, and I keep hearing about these hate crimes that keep going on. That's why I said earlier I didn't know too much about these stories, because when it first started happening, when it first started getting light, when these elderly people were getting punched and shoved and whatever it was, I saw that and I looked more into that. But then, like, after that, it just seemed like Pandora's box just opened
Yeah.
up, and it was that. It was people getting pushed. It was people getting killed and all this other stuff. But it just kept piling up. And I know in general, racism isn't getting worse. It's just being put on YouTube and on the internet and stuff like that. It just seemed like Pandora's box just opened up full fledged, and
Oh
like
yeah.
one thing after another just kept happening. And I'm just so sick and tired of all of this hate that's going on right now.
Yeah. Will Smith said it best. Racism isn't getting worse, it's being televised.
Exactly.
We're finally seeing this country for exactly what it is.
This day and age is just okay to be racist now, and it's okay to have this hate. It's okay. Like, people just feel like they're so free now, and I don't get it. I don't know if it's the pandemic. I don't know if it's like just people being like have this pent up aggression that they feel like they can just let it out now because they don't think that they're gonna get caught up or they're not gonna get reprimanded for anything that they do. But it's just a lot of hate, and I'm so sick and tired of seeing it.
It doesn't take much to push someone to reveal their truths.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, during times like this, when you can't do a lot of things except bitch and complain
Mm-hmm.
or rally behind something, people that don't have shit to do are quick to find something to rally behind. We see it all the time. Things like sports, for example. You don't even have to like your hometown team, but just because your coworkers are rooting for the hometown team
Mm-hmm.
and you're at the bar with them, you're going to root for them too.
Mm-hmm.
So just expand that onto everything else. If the people you mess with, the people in your circle, feel a certain way and they keep saying, hey, screw those Asian people.
Mm-hmm.
I hate Asian people. At some point, you'll be like, yeah, that's right. I don't like Asian people because my friends don't like Asian people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just want to be a part of something. Once again, unfortunately, people that don't have shit going on for themselves, people that don't have any kind of identity of their own, they will rally behind anything.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all don't believe me, look at the power of religion. You take it all the way back to biblical days.
Mm-hmm.
Take it back to missionaries going to different countries. People just do it and follow that religion because they're either told that's the business
Mm-hmm.
and you have nothing else to do, and then they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it brings it back to the racism going on right now. It's just people are frustrated and they got to blame something.
These are definitely hard and scary times right now. And unfortunately, there's no blame you can place on just one person or one group of people. It's a lot of people out there who are just mad at the world. They're just mad at everybody. And I wish there was something I could blame. I wish there was something I could say, like, this is what's causing it. This is what's causing all this hate and whatever. But it's been going on for like aeons and aeons and generations. It's not just right now. It's been going on for so long. It just seems like it's a lot because, again, it's being televised.
Yeah.
It's being put on video. It's been going viral on YouTube. You know, it's a lot of that. And it's all in your face. And then we all see it at once. And then at some point, it just becomes like, I'm tired of seeing this, or I'm tired of, supporting this. I'm tired of supporting that. It's not about getting tired of these things. Like, that's why we need to keep instilling this into the people. Like, at some point, we do need to care. At some point, a lot of this shit needs to be put out there, like, over and over again, just so we can do something about it.
People are out here having hard times, and you can't blame them for what the pandemic has done to them.
Mm-hmm.
Now people are looking for an excuse and something to blame their problems on.
Mm-hmm.
They need something to let this frustration out on. It's a temporary solution, but to blame something else,
Mm-hmm.
it makes you feel like you're in control.
Right.
It makes you feel you're not the one at fault.
Mm-hmm.
My life is like this because they did this to me.
Mm-hmm.
As much as some people do this, as much as some people don't want to admit it, this is the same tactic Hitler used to rally up a whole nation
Mm-hmm.
to go commit genocide,
Mm-hmm.
to start a war. This country wasn't doing that great, and this one person used the power of influence, was like, you know why we're not doing so good? Because of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different than what's happening right now.
Right.
Different groups are just picking other groups to blame for their problems.
Right.
Let's bring this into the cosplay community.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have stepped up to try to make their peers accountable, which is commendable. They're trying to get people to help rally for the cause and spread awareness. But at the same time, some of the tactics that people are using isn't the right way to go about it. You shouldn't be guilt tripping people to care.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people say things like, if you ever use the word waifu, if you even love anime, if you cosplay, then you need to care about this Asian culture. You need to care about this anti-Asian movement that's going on. You need to support the Stop Asian Hate movement. And yes, that is true. Just like with the black culture, if you enjoy Asian culture, then you need to be willing to stand up for Asian culture, just like with black culture.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen memes on both ends saying people love our culture, they just don't love us. And that is also true. A lot of people don't care where their favorite music comes from,
Mm-hmm.
their favorite this comes from.
I've been seeing a meme going around about that same thing you were just talking about. Like, it was something as blunt as, oh, you'll go out there and promote Asian hate, but we'll go home and watch Naruto afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, damn, like, it's really that cut and dry for a lot of people.
Yeah. They forget where their favorite content came from.
Right.
These people are trying to get their friends to support the cause. And I get that. You can't get someone to care by trying to make them feel like shit for not speaking about it. You don't know why they're not speaking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people come after other Asian people for not speaking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised no one's come after us for not speaking about it until now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because some of us are tired. We're tired, y'all. We see it. We acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
There comes a time where we need to back off for our own mental health as well.
Mm-hmm. Me personally, I've just been seeing so much. I mean, we just got off of the Black Lives Matter. I mean, we're still on it. I'm not saying nothing has like changed or stopped or anything like that, but we just got through with the Black Lives Matter. Even before like this whole Asian hate thing was like being publicized and everything like that, I was looking into indigenous people. They're going through their thing. And I'm seeing a lot of that. Like, there's a whole rabbit hole of shit that's going on with them. And then to add on the Asian hate and like seeing all this stuff about the Chinese virus and that's why people are losing their minds and doing all this shit, it's just a lot. We came off of one thing and went to another thing and now we're into another thing. It's like, where does it end? And that's why personally I am tired. And some of you who follow me on Instagram and Facebook have noticed that I haven't been posting a lot and I haven't been on my A game like I was earlier last year. I'm just over it, y'all. Like, it's not even about myself personally. I don't even care about myself personally. I'm just seeing all this hate going on. I don't even go on the internet half the time. Like, I'm not even online anymore because I'm just so sick and tired of seeing everything piling on top of each other. And me being someone who is of mixed race, I have it on both ends. Like, I see Black Lives Matter. I see Stop Asian Hate. It's a lot. And I live in a small town right now, and I'm really scared to go outside right now. And it's because of these small towns, and I feel like that's where they're targeting it most because that's why these people feel like they have the most control, that they can just go to these small towns, these small business owners and stuff like that, just so they can do something to make themselves feel better. I do not even want to go to get gas anymore. Like, I just say, F it. The weather's starting to warm up. I don't need gas. Like, you get gas so the gas doesn't freeze in your gas tank. But, like, I'm like, no, I can wait.
As some of y'all know, Shana and I were living in LA during the start of the pandemic. The Asian hate thing was already happening back then.
Mm-hmm.
We knew about that. And just the craziness of the pandemic and all the protests and the violence that's breaking out. A lot of y'all probably quickly forgot how many people were marching and protesting in the streets, and LA was no joke.
Yeah.
A city like that where
we
people
had curfews and stuff. Like, we were shut down at like 4 p.m.
Yeah, like people were just shutting down streets too.
Oh, yeah.
And we never really talked about it, but that was a very scary time in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know when it was safe to leave home. We didn't know if we were going to get caught up in a protest mob with the wrong people because we are both people of color. We didn't know if we were going to get caught out in curfew and the police were going to beat our ass and shoot us. Because LA curfew, they was on some slick shit. The news would say curfew's at 9. And then at 6 p.m., you get a text message from the city, emergency alert saying curfew's now at 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all have ever had the misfortune of having to drive in LA, you get caught in the wrong side of town, you ain't getting home in half an hour.
Yeah, and even our local streets were shut down. We used to live next to a police department, and we would see cops out all the time. And back then, we would go on walks because the weather was nice, obviously. So we would go on walks on a nightly routine, and we would see cops out there. Like we didn't even want to go outside anymore to like just go on a walk or like, do some fitness stuff because we were so scared. We were that scared to even go outside.
Yeah, especially LA has a lot of mixed communities, different races. We don't know what, just for general example, we don't know what the Latin community feels about the Asian. We don't know what the Black community feels about the Asian community. Me being Asian, Shana being mixed, we are kind of like tiptoeing around different communities. We don't know if we go to the white neighborhood, how that's going to feel. Though this was never really televised. I had a few friends that lived in like the bougie, nicer areas where the white people lived. These people were on their rooftops with guns pointing at anybody of color walking. I'm talking like nice neighborhoods. I'm talking towards where the celebrities lived.
I know, like these could have been your longtime neighbors, and these people were just out there like shoot to kill.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the kind of shit that makes me not want to go outside, even to go on a walk, you know?
Yeah, perfect example of that was, remember the lawyer and his wife that went viral for having guns on their front lawn? They're just pointing at people.
Yeah.
That's the shit I'm talking about. These people that are well off, live in gated communities even, pointing guns at their colored neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
It's like y'all live in this bougie $1 million neighborhood.
I know, y'all carpool together all the time. Your kids go to school with each other. That makes no sense, and that's exactly the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, it got so bad to where Sean and I made up this rule for each other where no one leaves home by themselves. Doesn't matter if you're just going to the store. It was like a 2-minute drive from our apartment to the closest grocery store. We never went anywhere alone during the entire pandemic.
I feel like that was like the whole store craze where people were just at the store buying groceries to last months or whatever because of that. You just never knew what was going to happen.
Even at the grocery store, it wasn't safe because there was brawls over toilet paper in California.
Oh, yeah.
Brawls over bottled water.
That was over a year ago now, and I'm still on that same mentality. Like, I will not go outside by myself, even to go out in the backyard. Like, I will not go out there by myself. He's not allowed to go by himself anywhere. My cats are not allowed to go do anything by themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like, we all go together, whatever it is that we have to do, and that's just the way of life now.
It even got so bad to where we were trying to arm ourselves in our house. We had, like, weapons stashes, and just in case, you never knew. Though we lived in a gated apartment and on the 3rd floor, and we had a vantage point to where we could see everyone coming up, that still wasn't enough security for us.
We bought a wedding stone just to sharpen our cosplay swords and stuff like that we had laying around the apartment. I'm like, I am not playing around with y'all. Like, we got a wedding stone. We're going to sharpen all these tools and everything.
Yeah. Whatever steel-bladed weapon we had like katanas that were just there for show. No, we sharpened the shit out of those.
Yeah. No, we wasn't playing. No.
I had a Sasuke grass cutter sword. We sharpened the shit out of that.
Yeah.
I had metal kunai from an earlier cosplay. I sharpened that. We stashed them in different places around the house and the car.
Like, we had tasers. We had all kinds of shit.
Oh, yeah. We
still do.
Yeah, we had the go to the store kit. I have this travel bag, this little like modern day fanny pack. Every day we would go to the store or leave home, I had one real metal kunai in there, but then I had 2 sharpened pieces of like plastic, just accessed from 3D prints that we had, but they were sharp enough to where you could pierce someone's skin. And those were like my throwaway items, like a stab and run item.
Mhm.
You know, if we get attacked, I can stab it and just leave it.
Mhm.
Shauna always carried the taser.
Mhm. I had my little classic fanny pack with my taser in it when we went on walks and stuff like that.
We even kicked it up a notch at some point. We got a GoPro camera that I would have mounted on my strap
Mhm.
on my fanny pack so we could have witnesses
Mhm.
to whatever happened.
Mhm.
Like, say someone attacked us and worse got to worse and we had to like stab the shit out of this dude
Mhm.
and defend ourselves, or God forbid we had to kill someone
Mhm.
just to survive. We had the GoPro to film it all
Oh yeah.
just so we'd be like, hey, this dude attacked us. Like, that's how bad it got for us in Los Angeles. We never spoke about it because we had a lot of peers looking to us for strength, and like they needed someone to make them feel better.
And also, it's just one of those things where I kind of didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want anyone to like come up to me by surprise and think I'm gonna just forget my taser and forget.
Yeah.
I don't want you to know what I got because you
that
gonna be
too.
surprised what I got. You gonna be hella surprised what I got.
Yeah, and I also didn't want to just add to the mass hysteria.
Right.
Like, people were already paranoid.
Oh yeah.
We were 4,000 miles away from our family. I didn't want them to feel scared and fly out to come check on us because they had their own shit to worry about. I didn't want my brother coming over and be like, hey, you good? You good?
It would have come down to that because
Yeah.
our family does care, and like there's people out there who would feel bad and feel worried and stuff like that just because we were away from all of our peers and all of our family members. And during that time is when it was just the worst. I feel like, I mean, it hasn't really died down since, but like it was just more, I feel like, hype, and people were in hysteria, and now the world's kind of opening back up a little bit. So there's like, I feel like it's kind of calmed down, but the hate has just not stopped.
No.
And I still am on my guard. I still carry weapons, concealed weapons, and I'm still on guard all the time. And like, I feel like it's worse now that we moved back to the Midwest. I feel more on my guard. I feel more scared than I was back in LA.
Yeah, a lot of my family members asked us, oh, do you feel safer now you're back?
Not really.
I kind of don't, because at least in LA, it's a very diverse population. People are more open-minded, but now we're back in the Midwest where people don't have the same kind of thoughts. A lot of people in this state are of that mentality of the racist political parties and stuff
Right.
like that. And because we are in a smaller town, people are just more ignorant, for lack of better words.
Oh yeah.
We can already see it at the grocery stores. All the maskless individuals that just look at us like, y'all guys are stupid.
I'm very careful when I even go to like these certain gas stations and these certain places because I have that like fight or flight moment every time I go into these kind of stores where it is a tighter knit community. People do feel like the coronavirus is just not a thing, and racism is real, more real out here than everywhere. And like, I don't know, I'm more on my guard than I ever was before now that I'm back.
Oh, yeah, especially being back here. Like, when I get gas, if a redneck in a lifted F-150 or Chevy bullshit truck or whatever, you've seen the douchey redneck pickup truck that is like 6 feet in the air and got mud on the side, got a Confederate flag in the windshield. That's a part of our daily life now. It could be June and this dude gonna step out of his truck with his Carhartt hunting jacket. Like, dude, like, why are you wearing an insulated jacket in June, first off? But then, like, they look at our license plates that are still out of state tags. And then, like, I don't want them to spark up a conversation with me.
Like, I walk around with purple hair out there, and I don't even feel comfortable like that because people know who I am now. Out in California, it's like everybody got purple hair. Everybody got, like, the standard whatever. And then it's just like coming back to the Midwest, I just feel more like there's a target on my back than ever before.
Yeah, because even driving back here, one of the hotels we stayed at, the guy looked at my ID. He's like, California? And he just started talking all kinds of shit about California people. Shouldn't y'all be staying in your state instead of coming to my state and spreading the coronavirus?
As he's not wearing a mask?
Yeah, as he was behind the counter without a mask on. Just talking all kinds of shit about how us California people are spreading coronavirus. I'm like, is it that bad now that certain states are blaming other states now?
And on the same level, it's like, yeah, everywhere is racist in their own ways, and everywhere is like gonna be like that kind of shit in their own ways. But in California, I feel like more people were just concerned about being vegans and what your presidency choice is and what your race is and stuff like that. Like, but out there, it's just more like, all right, whatever. But like out here, it's just like, what are you doing? Who are you? What's your name? Who's your kinfolk? Who's your this? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Like, am I interviewing for a job?
Mhm.
I'm just going to the store. I just need gas.
Yeah. It's funny that some of my family members would ask if it feels safer to be back home. Then, on the same breath, they tell me about things they've done to prepare for the
hmm
pandemic and the craziness that they thought was to come.
Oh, it's even worse because out here they can own guns.
Yep. And that's what I was about to get into. My brother, who just got into guns like hardcore, like 5, 6 years ago, he was just telling me that he's trained his wife and his daughter, the same one I was talking about earlier that works at the Asian restaurant, they all know how to shoot.
hmm
They all know how to shoot rifles, assault rifles, and pistols,
hmm
and shotguns. He's like, yeah, we got enough like frozen food to last us for 2 or 3 months, and we got a lot of dry food. And if we got to barricade ourselves in the house and fight off people, oh, we got guns. Your niece knows how to shoot. And you want to ask us who feels safe. You're the one with the Walking Dead game plan going on.
Right?
He was all just telling me that he's gonna barricade this, and they got sniper points because he's got a backyard on a hill, and
He's the one with the Home Alone blueprints of his house, waiting for Harry and Marv to come and destroy his house.
yeah, it's like you got paint cans tied to trees in the backyard, like,
Y'all got booby traps.
and you're the one telling me that you feel safe. Well, yeah, I'm safe because I got these booby traps. And
You
these
should
guns.
feel safe with all that shit.
I don't know, got holes in the backyard with leaves covering them up.
Looking like Rambo out there.
Yeah, things like that we couldn't have in California.
hmm
The gun laws are so ridiculous
Oh,
that
yeah.
we couldn't own a gun if we wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Things like home safety was also a determining factor of coming back home.
hmm
At the very least, if we all had to pile up somewhere, Rambo brother got us. He got enough room for the entire family
Mhm.
and got supplies.
hmm
He was like, hey, if shit goes crazy, we can all just hold up in here.
hmm
I got positions for everybody. He got security cameras. Like, he's so paranoid, but yet he wants to say he's safe. I mean,
Right.
I guess he is safe, but
Oh,
he's
yeah.
paranoid.
Yeah, and I think that's why he asked you, like, do we feel safe? Because he's got the lockdown.
Mhm.
Should we ever come back
Yeah.
and we need somewhere to hide out?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's a whole different world out in California. But it's still like I still don't feel safe. And like anywhere I go, like I'll always put safety first, no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah. And my brother's like, if my daughter has to take a gun with her, I'll give her one
hmm
if that's what makes her feel safe. She knows how to shoot. I've seen her shoot. And-
She definitely should.
I've seen her shoot a couple years ago.
I saw her shoot when she was just a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am scared of you. You know what? I
She's-
ain't gonna ever cross you.
yeah. She shot way better than I did. I don't know how to shoot like that. And he trained her. Might as well call my brother Rick Grimes.
I will never forget that video you showed me of your niece shooting that gun, and she just had the most calm and collected face. Like she was just down. Like she
Yeah.
was just calm and just studious and just like ready.
She was-
She did not move. She did not falter. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, okay.
She was barely a teen just shooting a 9mm at cans.
And she was getting all her targets.
Yeah, she had good form. My brother was like, I'm going to let her shoot the AR-15 next.
It wasn't even a joke to her. She was just like, yeah, shot a gun,
Yeah.
whatever, next. I'm like,
Mhm.
next? Jesus.
Yeah, and that same niece is now scared of
Mhm.
something happening to her at her job. If it comes down to it, like, she knows how to use a gun, but she doesn't want to carry it because nobody wants to live that kind of life
Right.
and have a gun with them all the time.
I mean, it's definitely coming to that point where even I'm thinking about it, and I'm really trying to get some kind of certification for one because honestly, like if I can have one, I'm going to.
Oh, yeah, that's
Definitely.
definitely on the to-do list because shit's getting crazy out
Oh
here.
yeah.
I think about my niece who's working at the store. I think about my mom. She's very pale and light-skinned.
hmm
Myself and my older brother, we're kind of like, we kind of blend in. We're kind of ambiguous when it comes to what race we are.
hmm
But my mom, there's no mistaking that she's an
Mhm.
Asian woman because she's super pale.
hmm
I worry about her going to Walmart by herself because
Mhm.
we know Walmart got the greatest people
Yeah.
at the wrong hours. But anyways, I don't want something to happen to her.
Right.
It's like,
And she's mostly by herself
yeah, she's
too.
always by herself and
Mhm.
she's just so comfortable just going out, even though we all tell her, sit your ass at home, but she gets bored. She's retired.
But a lot of these Asian people are out there by themselves. They're
Yeah.
all older, elderly people, and that's what makes them a big target
Mhm.
because they are by themselves and they are just comfortable in their small towns and their communities. But these are the people getting targeted.
Yeah.
And honestly, that brings me back to, you know, being in these small towns and like these, serial killers even. They target these small towns because they know people are used to their lifestyle, used to
Mhm.
leaving their doors open, used to leaving their windows open, shit like that. And they want to go to these places where they know it will be easy. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's the same mentality for these people who are just full of this hate and are just going after these Asian people and all these other cultures. And it's like, because they feel safe.
Yeah. Before we move on and before I forget, let's bring it back to why some people, especially Asians, haven't spoken up. A very well known male cosplayer shared his thoughts on it. He too hasn't said anything about it.
Mhm.
He started his post by saying why he's not supporting the Stop Asian Hate. He was kind of indifferent. He was in a very gray, awkward area.
Mhm.
At first, I was like, whoa, dude, you're Asian yourself. You're 100% Asian. And you standing there like, I'm not going to support this. I don't care if Asians get attacked. And I was like, whoa, bro, whatever you're feeling
Mhm.
or whatever you're going through, how can you just say it's okay to just let this happen?
Mhm.
But then as he started explaining it, he went into a conversation about colorism. And then it kind of hit home. And I was like, oh, now I get why he feels this way.
Mhm.
He pretty much just started saying he is 100% Asian. His entire life, he's been told he's not Asian enough
Mhm.
from his white friends and especially his Asian friends. This has been his burden that he's carried his entire life as a kid.
Mhm.
Every time he would tell people what country he's from, the country he's from, there's lighter skinned people.
Mhm.
But they would always be like, you're not Asian.
Mhm.
It got even worse as he got older. It got worse when he got older. He started meeting Chinese, Koreans,
Mhm.
Japanese, the holy trinity of light skinned, pale Asians.
Mhm.
Even on a professional level, he said people from these countries
Mhm.
looked down on him like he wasn't worth even talking to.
Mhm.
He joined the military and he traveled overseas, and that colorism hit even harder. Now he's stationed in Japan, Korea,
Mhm.
and even fellow soldiers are just looking at him like, you ain't shit. You ain't real Asian like us.
Mhm.
You ain't pure blood on some Malfoy shit from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Even though he was a pure blood, both his parents, he said he's experienced this his whole life.
Mhm.
And why he feels indifferent is because now these same people who shit on him his entire life are asking him to stand up for them.
Mhm.
And he's like, y'all used to kick me and spit on me when I was a kid, as a professional,
Mhm.
and in the military. But now you want me to forget all that
Mhm.
and stand up for you.
Mhm.
He also said, I'm not saying these people deserve it.
Mhm.
I shouldn't feel obligated to help out a group of people that shit on me my whole life.
Mhm.
That hit home with me. I saw his reasoning then tear away the Asian blanket of we're all Asians now, but he was right. We weren't all Asians before this.
Mhm.
I've experienced my own fair share of colorism.
Mhm.
I've been to school with light skinned Asians, for lack of better words, and they made it clear that we weren't them.
Right.
My peer group in high school were the Southeast Asians.
Mhm.
We got along, but all the light skinned Asians,
Mhm.
they were their own group.
Mhm.
There was times where we try to merge groups and we're just like, yeah, we're all Asian. And they would correct me, be like, no, I'm Chinese, I'm Japanese, or
Mhm.
you guys are Southeast Asians.
Mhm.
They would go as far as even saying, you're not like us.
Mhm.
And it was such a level of disrespect. Like, damn, just because I'm from a country that didn't invent a car, a TV, or a Sony PlayStation. I ain't shit.
Right.
And that's what they felt like.
And that in itself is just like, that's playing on both sides. It's like, I don't really want to call it devil's advocate, but it's more like we weren't all Asian until this whole virus came out. And then
Yeah.
Trump was like calling it the Chinese virus and everybody's Chinese and everybody's this and this. Like, it was only that kind of community when it was on some hateful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was only differentiated between the actual Asians, like people who are actually from different countries. And that's not to be like on the surface of this shit, but you gotta be in this kind of predicament because it's like people in America don't think about Asians like that.
Mhm.
We just don't. It's mostly because we don't know about your cultures and different cultures and stuff like that. It's not right, but I'm just saying, like on the surface, that's all that they see. It's just like y'all are all Asian, whatever. It's
No, we're all
the
Chinese.
most ignorant thing that I've
Yeah.
ever heard in my life. The only people that differentiate which Asian is which are the people within the Asian communities, and that's when they were like, "Oh no, I'm Chinese. Oh no, I'm Korean. I'm not." It's like that's so trill though, and it sits so hard with me because it's not something that everybody understands, but
Yeah.
it's something that only the Asians will make a big deal out of, and that's what's so frustrating about it. It's like, and I kind of get where this cosplayer was coming from. It's like it's a big deal only when we make it a big deal.
Yeah.
That's where he's coming from, and I get it. I really do get it.
I definitely felt what he had to say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree that we shouldn't take a stand and support that group of Asians in their time of need. He's also subtly saying it's the gift and the curse of being a dark-skinned Asian.
Right.
Now that, quote unquote, Asians are being attacked, people like him, like myself, to most Americans, they don't even know what the hell we are.
Mm-hmm.
So they only think of Asians as the predominantly really pale, light-skinned Asians.
Right.
So he's like, well, it was a curse my entire life that I'm dark-skinned, but now that this group of Asians is being targeted, they don't care about me.
Right.
So now it's a gift that I'm not Asian enough.
Right. He could have very well have said that shit. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, well, since y'all are Chinese or since because you guys are more light skinned than me, isn't this kind of your problem? Like he could have easily have said that shit.
Yeah.
Because of that own colorism hate within the Asian community in general.
Yeah.
And that's the shit that breaks my heart. It's like, God, like nobody can feel safe. Nobody can do the right thing. No one can say the right thing. It's like, but you get what I'm saying? Like, that's why a lot of people don't know what to say when things like this happen.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, well, I'm guilty of saying shit like that. Or I'm guilty of exiling the Southeast Asians and people who don't look like me, essentially, who are, like, more ambiguous than I am. It's like you just said, your mom looks Asian. She looks the part.
Yeah.
I could see you as, like, Hispanic, as whatever. Like, you are more...
I could be Hispanic. I could be Samoan. I could be an islander. Like, no one knows. It just depends on who I'm hanging out with.
Exactly. And that's the shit that just... It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's no other better way or nicer way to explain it. But I've been through that myself personally. I'm of mixed race. I'm Black. I have Asian in me. I have who knows what else. But it's because, again, like, I could stand next to Southeast Asians and they all think I'm Southeast Asian. I can stand next to Black people. They all think I'm Black. I can stand next to Hispanic people. People speak Spanish to me. It's like I don't fit anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
But it's only a thing when you make it a thing.
Yeah. You definitely fooled my grandma. My grandma had to pull me aside. She's like, hey, what is she? She looks like us, but I know she's not. But she's got the same color as us.
That's why at some point I just stopped saying what I am. It's just like, I am whatever I look like to you. Like, like to some people,
I am whatever you say I am. Eminem.
I could say that I am part Asian to Asians, and they won't ever think that I'm Asian. They'd be like, "Oh no, you're Black. You're darker than me, so you're Black." I could stand next to Hispanic people and be like, I'm Hispanic. They're like, no, you're not. You're from Brazil or whatever. It's like, oh my God, like, isn't that like? But there's no pretty way to say what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And what this cosplayer is trying to say, it's like he's not contributing to the hate. He's just more coming from the hate that was put onto him. And a
Yeah.
lot of ambiguous people, when they have hate put onto them, it's like, oh, all of a sudden I'm all of it, like a part of you now. Like now I'm a part of your
Yeah.
people now. We're all in this together,
Yeah.
essentially. When you wanted to exile me when it was convenient for you.
Yeah. Even in the comments, he struck a lot of people's heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
So many people are just like, dude, I feel you. Long story short, everyone had their own colorism story and how they've suffered because of it.
Right.
Because, for example, my family's from Thailand and Laos.
Mm-hmm.
Thailand is known for its colorism issue.
Yeah. It's so bad out there that they have bleach in their body washes. Like, you can't buy soap in Thailand unless you want bleach in
Oh,
that
yeah.
soap.
Like, they have a lot of bleach products to lighten your skin.
Right.
We went on a couple tours and people would talk about the colorism issues.
Right.
Because they value the fair skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the home country.
Yeah.
To bring those same values over here, it's even worse. A lot of people spoke up in the comments how they agreed with him. So it made me really think about why a lot of people haven't spoken up.
Mm-hmm.
We just haven't spoken up because we're tired. We
I'm
can't
just tired of
talk about everything all the time. It's like we have this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We have other media we talk on. And it's just like sometimes you need to give yourself a mental break. So anyways, I'm just saying all this to say just because your friends haven't posted about it doesn't mean they don't care.
Right. It really does not mean, like, in this day and age, it really does not mean that.
I've seen people just attack their own friends, going as far as tagging people like,
Yeah.
I'm talking to you, so-and-so and so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my peers aren't even on social media like that anymore.
Right.
They don't know what's going on because we all need this break. So to tag your friends and assault them, you're only making things worse for yourself and your friendship.
That's why I started farm simulator games, because nobody talks like this in the farm, you know, or on Animal Crossing. I've been playing a lot of that shit. Like, y'all know me. Like, I am hardly on the internet anymore. I'm trading furniture items. I'm trading sheeps. I'm talking to like farm people and shit like that. That's my life right now, because I'm so sick and tired of seeing what's going on the internet. I'm just tired.
Yeah, a lot of us just want to stay in our holes.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, there's been times where I just wanted to stop this podcast because we need to stay relevant with what's going on in the world and what's going on within our nerd community. We have to look. We have to be on social media, but it gets so tiring, y'all. Like, y'all don't know. I'm on social media all day long trying to find what to talk about next and then looking at other people's views and what their thoughts are. And just all that negative energy drains on you.
Yeah, it does.
To where it's like, you just want to quit. And I'm just like, oh my God. There's been times where I've done so much research for a podcast episode and it just left me in a funk for 2 days. And it was like, wow, this world sucks and the community sucks. It's like, you try to find lights at the end of the tunnel, or you trying to find a way to spin something negative to leave words of encouragement, and that's hard. It's like, how do you make people feel good about mass shootings in the country? Oh, speaking of that, there was just another one in like Boulder, Colorado, like yesterday. Them dude was shooting up a grocery store.
But it's just another thing that's adding onto the shit pile, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. And there's a different rabbit holes you can go down, and there's just so much shit just plastered on your home screen, and I'm tired of it. Honestly, I'm just over it. Like, there's so much, and that's why they say being on the internet and being a influencer and being on YouTube and shit like that, it's not for everybody. Because honestly, when it comes to being doing a podcast, like Renji just said, like, you gotta really be in the know, and you have to do your research and know what's going on, like current event wise, and it's just not for everybody.
No, it's not.
Some people will sit there and look at us and be like, "Oh, it must be nice. It's so easy that you guys can just pop on the YouTubes and the Instagrams and shit and like do your thing," but it's not. It really is not. Like, this takes work, okay?
Yeah, and then to sit back and edit this stuff and listen to this negativity again.
Right.
And then we also do the live premiere where we chat with y'all. Then we have to hear it again. It's like we're slammed with the negativity like 3 or 4 times.
Like this is an art form, okay? So I hope you guys appreciate what we're doing right now because it takes a lot, and it takes a lot out of us at the end of the day too.
Yeah. Saying all this to say, that's why some of your peers haven't said shit.
Right.
They're trying to take care of themselves. So with us going into the first year of the pandemic, y'all can't knock people for just doing what they got to do to survive right now.
And honestly, like I just said earlier, so many racial groups are going through their own thing as well. It's not just the black people, it's not just the Asian people, it's not just the this people and this. It's like, it's a lot. Not just only in this country. Everybody's going through their own shit. You can't get in someone's face about not talking about certain things because you don't know what someone's going through.
Yeah, because at the same time, there's always an issue that you didn't talk about.
Exactly.
You don't know what's going on because someone else could be very into the butterfly migration patterns of Alaska, and these butterflies could be murdering a town. You don't know about that. I'm just saying, like, that's a pretty extreme example, but
you still don't. You don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
You don't
Someone
know.
could have had family members get murdered by that butterfly migration, and how would you feel if they came after you and ended your friendship?
Exactly.
So I'm just saying, just kind of chill out with the tagging people and giving them an ultimatum. If you don't speak up about this, then we ain't friends. Well, then you just lost a friend.
That's like on the same lines for me. That's like when something happens tragically in like a country, they say, "Oh, pray for this country," and then someone in the background, "Oh, but what about Brazil? What about them? They just went through something." Oh yeah, screw Brazil. What about Argentina? What about America? What about Asia? It's like I hate that shit so much. When something's going on, you have to like the forest fires, for example, in Australia and like everywhere. That shit was going around a lot, and it was like, oh, pray for California. Oh, but you know what? Who else is going through the same shit? Australia. Pray for them too. It's like, do you get where I'm going with this? Like, y'all can't leave well enough alone. It's bad enough that someone's already going through a tragedy, but you got to bring up something else. It's like, okay, we get it. Everyone's suffering, but it's like, that's why you can't get in people's faces about not talking about this shit.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going through something.
Yeah. And you don't know what someone is praying for.
Exactly. That could be their home country, and you're saying, "Oh, screw that." You know who else needs prayers?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah. It's a lot. It's not a fun topic to talk about, but
It's not, but it needs to be addressed because y'all out there saying this shit, and it's so disheartening to see.
yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. I know a lot of people out there trying to raise awareness, but please, for whoever's sake, whatever spiritual entity, whatever higher power you believe in, stop using yellow to represent Asians.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I've seen conversations. People like, should we post yellow squares?
I saw that shit. I saw that. I'm like, what do you think?
Should we post yellow squares? You might as well call us Orientals again. No, don't post yellow. And don't use the color yellow. I've been seeing a lot of people share like this picture of it's supposed to symbolize the black community and the Asian community standing together. So it's like them holding hands or whatnot.
Right.
And it's like, of course, one side's black and the other side is yellow.
Can we just stop with the colors? Like, honestly, we just got through talking about colorism. Half the Asians are pale skin. There's dark skin, there's fair skin, there's all kinds of skin colors. Like, can we just stop representing our races with colors? And I didn't agree with the whole black squares either because that was still in the same, like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
And it's just like
We doing this right now?
And a lot of people have been sharing it. Like, yes, the message is there. The black community and the Asian communities are standing together, but why we gotta slip in the yellow?
Instead of berating your peers about how to speak up about these kinds of things, show them and teach them the appropriate way to support this thing. It doesn't have to be like yelling at them and telling them, like, no, just give them a positive way to support the movement, to support the culture, you know?
Yeah, and one last note about some people not speaking up yet. It's because you know your followers, you know your peers. I know a lot of the people that follow me on my social media, they understand what's going on. They're not the ones out there beating up old Asian ladies.
Right.
My followers and my peers, they're not the ones out there being racist. So it feels like I'm just preaching to the choir. They're like, dude, we follow you. You're Asian.
Right.
We understand your views and your values, and we support you. So I don't feel that I have to tell these people what they already know. And I know a lot of other people feel the same way too. They know that their friends aren't out there driving pickup trucks and running over Asian ladies.
Right.
They know their friends aren't out there with shotguns shooting Chinese takeout delivery people.
Because those wouldn't be the people that they cater to anyway. You're
Yeah.
like, why would you follow me if that's what you're on, you know?
Yeah. So that's also why some people haven't been speaking out, because then we just end up irritating the people that already know what they're supposed to be doing. Wow. That was a lot to say.
Oh, and yellow is awareness for endometriosis. So you can still support that. But yellow does not represent the culture, okay? Leave it alone.
I can't even say what word you just said. but
Endometriosis.
Yeah, I don't think the Asian community's ever claimed yellow, now that I think about it.
Why would they?
I wish I could just tell you guys the easy way to support the Stop Asian Hate movement. At the very least, you can do this. Acknowledge that this is a real problem. Asian communities, Asian people, Asian businesses are out there and they're under attack.
Start locally. Start hitting up your local community centers, asking them what they need help with. Because there's different things you could, donate to. There's different like organizations, but you really have to look at which ones are going to be the most helpful to the community. Just like the whole Black Lives Matter movement, there is, different organizations you could donate to for that. But like how they're doing in San Francisco, they're trying to, rally up school kids or younger people to help escort Asian, older, or elderly people in general to like where they need to go and stuff of that nature. So just it starts locally in your community. So when in doubt, start with where you live. You need to start locally. You need to start smaller and then just build from there if you want to. But if you really do want to help, I would just say start in your local community and go from there.
Yeah, because it is yeah, that's true. It is a community by community basis. They have their own little system of how they look out for each other.
And they might get more press than others.
Yeah.
During like the Black Lives Matter movement was concerned about it. It's like, well, this community doesn't need any more proceeds. They just they need to get awareness to the other ones, the smaller ones.
Yeah, that's true. Like the bail funds. Certain cities had so much money in their bail funds because of donations. They stepped up and said, hey, we're good. Not that many people got arrested here. Send your money over to this city instead.
Right. Because I understand, like, it could be very overwhelming for this kind of stuff. And, like, you don't know where to start. So, like, when in doubt, start where you're familiar with.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Shinobi Squad podcast. I know it was a little deep and a little heavy, but it would be irresponsible of us not to talk about it.
Right.
So thank you for sitting here. I know it was a lot to take in, and we appreciate your time and always appreciate your support. Speaking of support, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button and follow us across all the social medias.
Please give us a thumbs up on this video. It really does help us out.
All right, guys. I think I said enough. I'm Fan Service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
We'll see you guys next week.
Good night, guys.